And the conflict in the Middle East has escalated. We have the details. Just a few hours ago, Iran launched a retaliatory strike on a U.S. base in Qatar. Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us here for Fox 5 News at 4. I'm Tom Haynes, in for Christine Spiro. This comes after the United States bombed Iranian nuclear sites over the weekend. To bring us up to speed, let's get straight over to Fox 5 News anchor Russ Spencer. Russ?
Well, Tom, at 1 o'clock this afternoon, Iran announced that it had begun an operation against the U.S. base in Qatar. President Trump was there just last month, the first visit to that base by a U.S. president since 2003. Here's a look at the video of those strikes. The base that was attacked is the largest U.S. military installation in the Middle East. Iran says the number of missiles fired at the base matches the number of bombs the U.S. dropped on Iranian nuclear sites over the weekend, emphasizing the reciprocal nature of the strike. The Qatari Defense Ministry says it intercepted the Iranian attack with no injuries or deaths reported, and that too seems to have been intentional on the part of the Iranians. The Trump administration says it anticipated this attack from Iran, and as of right now, the president does not want more military engagement in the region. Qatar has condemned Iran for its attack on the U.S. base, calling it a flagrant violation of Qatar's sovereignty and airspace. Iran's missile operation against the base is codenamed Blessings of Victory. Now, if the tit-for-tat is over, it may open the door for renewed diplomacy between the U.S. and Iran. Tom, we'll have to see.
All right, and no collateral damage, as you mentioned, Russ. Thanks. As that conflict escalates overseas, Governor Brian Kemp assures Georgia residents state officials are prepared for possible retaliatory action here at home. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes is live for us at the state capitol this afternoon. And Deidre, you just spoke one-on-one with the governor.
That's right, Tom. The governor telling me this afternoon, while there are no reports of immediate threats here in Georgia, state law enforcement agencies remain on high alert. Now, we did also ask him about Iran's attack on that U.S. military base in Qatar.
It's disappointing they did that. I know the president gave a stern warning about attacking our folks.
We spoke with Governor Brian Kemp soon after news broke that Iran had launched a missile attack on a U.S. military base in Qatar.
I hope they don't escalate any further, because I think that'd be a bad decision for them to do.
Governor Kemp says law enforcement across Georgia is on high alert in the wake of U.S. airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facilities, as officials nationwide prepare for possible retaliatory attacks on U.S. soil.
Just to make sure everybody on the government side of things is at a heightened state of awareness, just to make sure we're ready for, anything retaliatory that may come.
Kemp joined fellow governors from around the country Sunday on a call with Department of Homeland Security Director Kristi Noem to discuss how Iran might respond. On Sunday, the State Department issued a worldwide caution security alert for Americans traveling overseas, advising them to exercise increased caution due to the ongoing conflict between Iran and Israel and the potential for demonstrations against U.S. citizens and interests abroad. The governor assures residents that state officials are coordinating with law enforcement on all levels as they closely monitor any possible threats.
We just wanted to make sure Georgians knew that we're on top of this and keeping our eyes open, and they should do the same thing. If they see something, say something.
And again, the governor stressing that there are no immediate threats reported here in Georgia, but he says it is important for both local law enforcement and also for the public to remain vigilant for any possible threats. At the state capitol, Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 News.
Reassuring to know state officials are on top of the situation. Deidre, thanks for that one-on-one from the governor. With the growing conflict in the Middle East, a Metro Atlanta woman is thankful to be home after escaping Israel last week. She got help from a Florida nonprofit after the Israeli airspace closed. Fox 5's Kim Leffler sat down with her today about her experience and joins us now live here on set with more. Such a difficult situation, not only for people who are over there, but for people who want to get over there too, Kim.
Yeah, Tom, Sonia Delgado was traveling with her daughter and a friend when they got an alert to take shelter. That's when she knew they had to find a way out and connected to Gray Bull, who got them to Florida.
Sonia Delgado says her friend invited her and her daughter to join her on a trip to Israel. They left June 8th and plan to stay for a week.
We were told it was very quiet, but also we did all the things as an American that we're supposed to do. We checked the, State Department, registered with STEP. That nothing said do not travel to Israel.
As things changed at the end of the week when they first had to take shelter. The next night, she knew she had to leave.
We felt something. It felt like something hit very close that night when we were sheltering at one point, which I think was the precipice for us. Like the next day, I was like, okay, that's it. You know, like I got to figure us a way out of here. We've got to get out of here.
Worked day and night to find a way home, but she says information was limited. That's when she connected with State Representative Long Tran, who knew of several organizations, including Florida-based Gray Bull, who were working to get people out. Last week, they were part of around 300 people the organization got to Jordan and then Cyprus before making their way to Tampa, funded by the state of Florida.
Just really, you know, relishing in the fact of how lucky I am, how thankful I am.
I'm hoping that, you know, the governor, the Georgia Emergency Management, GEMA, will put up some funds and help us get some folks back.
Representative Tran says he's in touch with around 20 Georgia families still working to get back from Israel.
Especially since we have a budget surplus. We're not in session right now, so we can't appropriate funds like we normally would. But I think there are mechanisms we can take to help the families that can't afford to pay for these private security companies to get them back.
So far, Gray Bull has helped over 700 people get out of Israel in recent weeks. Their most recent mission was just this morning.
Interesting to know that there are other Georgia families who are still over in Israel wanting to get back. And you have to wonder, is it a government role to try to help to get them back, or is it up to the private sector to step in and work to get those families to return?
Yeah, and I was on a call with this organization earlier this afternoon, and they said there are a lot of kids that they're helping to get back as well. So certainly some very scary moments for these people trying to get out.
All right, Kim, thanks. Amid the heightened tensions that we just talked about in the Middle East, Americans are now being urged to be careful if they decide to travel outside the country. The U.S. State Department issued the warning over the weekend. Fox 5's Tyler Finger continues our live team coverage. Tyler is live for us at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport this afternoon. Tyler?
Yeah, Tom, good afternoon to you. U.S. State Department officials aren't saying you shouldn't leave the country, but they say after the U.S. bombed Iran over the weekend, U.S. travelers could be a target worldwide. Your ticket out of the country now comes with a new warning from U.S. officials. Sunday night, the U.S. State Department issued this worldwide caution alert after U.S. forces dropped more than a dozen bombs on 3 nuclear sites in Iran over the weekend.
Everything is a surprise and a shock and also to be expected. So I think right now, everybody's kind of in a state of what's going to happen next.
At the world's busiest airport Monday, international travelers aren't changing their trips, but they plan to be careful while they enjoy their time abroad.
Even without that kind of warning, I know that danger is always around.
In the worldwide alert, the State Department says, quote, there is the potential for demonstrations against U.S. citizens and interests abroad, end quote. Last week, officials urged travelers not to go to Israel and Gaza because of the threat of attacks targeting tourist locations and transportation hubs. AAA says it's expecting a record travel period for July 4th and says if you travel abroad, be aware of your surroundings.
Travel in groups, don't travel alone, especially in unfamiliar places. And, we can't stress enough, to make sure that you respect the local customs and laws.
While U.S. officials are stressing people need to be careful abroad, a number of U.S. cities are on high alert after the airstrikes. Places like New York, Miami, and Los Angeles have issued alerts. In New York City, police are deploying extra officers at religious, cultural, and diplomatic sites citywide. Travelers say it's all about being smart.
Just be wise and think about where you're going to go before you go there, because you have to ask yourself, is it worth the risk?
And the State Department regularly issues travel advisories. They range from level 1 to level 4. Level 4 being do not travel. If you want to see those travel advisories, we have a link to it on our website, fox5atlanta.com. We are live at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport this afternoon. Tyler Fingert, Fox 5
Great
News.
information if you plan to head outside the country. Tyler, thanks. All right, let's bring you up to date on some of our top stories this afternoon. Iran launching retaliatory strikes against U.S. bases in the Middle East. They say they launched the same number of missiles as bombs that the U.S. dropped on Iranian nuclear sites. Qatar says they intercepted the missiles, and there have been no reports of deaths or injuries from the attack.